Okay. The buck does stop here, and we've asked the question, who does the buck stop with when you're saying, who can help? And I just imagined if everybody had the phone number of the president, everybody whose child, whose brother, whose husband, whose sister, whose daughter been abducted cannot be found over the last, I don't know, maybe some of them have actually been killed, we don't know. But if those family members had the numbers of the president and were able to call him and say, please let my child go, and the president then would be able to help, wouldn't that be a better situation?
No, it would not be a better situation for the simple reason, why should we be calling the president?
This is where I'm going. Mm-hmm. Because why do you have to get to that point when you call? Look at that. We're going to go over this again. Look at the number of people that Justin Muturi said he called. He called the PS Interior. He called everybody. He called the CS Interior. He called DCI. He called the IG of Police.
Man, he called everybody.
Jameni. He called everybody. Before at some point he said, you know what, this is it, I'm going to, because I'm in close proximity to the president, I called the president. President picked up the phone and calls and said, you have this boy? Yes, we have him. Can you, no question, what did he do, where was he? You have him? Yes. Release him. Okay, within an hour, released. What if everybody had an opportunity to do that? And should it get to that point? Does it stop? Yes, it stops with the president. Mm-hmm. Because at the end of the day, when you raise that Bible Constitution, right? When you raise the Bible, put your hand on the Bible, put the other one on the Constitution, whichever one you raise and whichever one you put your hand on. Everything concerning the nation is under you. Everything is actually under you. So now this is going to continue to be, but now when we see the issues that are coming out now, where people are saying, now we're going to ask you to resign. Why exactly are you asking somebody to resign? Because he opened up a Pandora's box? Because he now gave rise to many more questions that are coming out of speculation to be asked? It continues to be an issue. Let me give you some more details of this particular story. Right? Why the buck stopped with Ruto on abductions and youthful critics. Desperately trying to secure his son's release from captivity, and distressed public service Cabinet Secretary Justin Muturi knew only one person could help, and that was the president. So in the statement that he gave, he painted a helpless man who tried everything to locate his son, abducted by then persons he said were National Intelligence Service agents. Now, never mind he was the Attorney General. You want to think about somebody who sells tomatoes on the side of the road. Never mind that he was the Attorney General. There was no help that he could get at that time. He was also a member of the National Security Council, which oversees all security organs. Mm-hmm. The situation exposes the dysfunctionality of top state organs. We would imagine the NSC operates in a coordinated and strategic way, said constitutional lawyer Bobby Mkangi. Kenyans set it up to ensure the entity's decisions are made in a collegiate manner, but the statement exposes the fact that the NSC is not working together. Muturi's position then is one in which countless parents have found themselves since last year's youth-led revolt over proposed tax hikes. They spend their days searching for their children and sleepless nights hoping their young ones abducted and held incommunicado for days on end would return home safely. I'm going to keep calling his name, Mukuria. Mm-hmm. I will keep asking. His mother has been to morgues. She's been to police stations. She's been to hospitals. She's been to friends' homes. She's been up country to see if her son maybe has found his way to the village. Cannot find this man. And the last time she heard that he was somewhere is he was being bundled into a police vehicle. Mm-hmm. Thereafter, somebody said maybe he was in an industrial area. Can't find him. Does she have access to the president to pick up the phone and call? The 3 men who were locked up in somewhere in Kitengela, did their family members have access to the president to call? The 6 gentlemen, for whom one is still missing, did they have access to did their families? The father, Mr. Bernard, who went into court and cried for his son, the mother who held her son so tightly when they were finally released, did they have access to the president to pick up the phone and say, please, release my son, release my daughter? Is that the point that the country needs to get to before somebody sits up and their ears are peaked to say, okay guys, this cannot continue? What if you don't have access? Then are you down?
Well, the truth of the matter is those who have access are extremely few. Statistically, they're almost irrelevant.
There you go.
If you take the population of Kenya to be 50 million plus, those who have access, leave the president aside, any officer, any individual who is a holder of these independent offices, how many people have access? You know, the discussion about abductions, access, role of NIS, all these questions, all these issues that arise must be asked again. All the security apparatus that we have in this country, what are their roles?
Yes.
And are there units within these very apparatuses, whose role is to abduct people? Or have they been mandated with that particular role? Because every once in a while, we do have situations where within the country, whether it was a commissioner of police or whoever's in charge, they would have a squad whose specific purpose was a very specific duty. For instance,
Yes.
eliminate Mungiki. What that meant was kill them.
Yes.
Okay? You report to talk about the body count. Okay. Now, are we saying that there are units within NIS? We understand them to be data gatherers, information gatherers, to understand and to underscore and to ensure the security and safety of the entire nation. So, do they have a unit within NIS whose role is to abduct people? And if it's to abduct, what do you qualify? What do you need to do so that you can be abductible? What is it that you need to have done, said, shown? What is it? And beyond this, because we are focusing on abductions because very many young people are being abducted.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is an issue. It's an even bigger issue because some of them are ending up dead. And we're asking, what on earth is happening? Now, the question we're asking is, if this is part of the role that NIS has, explain to us how this helps with our security. And if it's security, explain how these young people are a threat to the security of the nation.
And I think let's go even further in terms of under the police structure and the NIS, which is under the National Police Service, which is an independent institution. Under the law, what is abductions? Where does it fall under your own law? And even if it's you've abducted them, present them in court, because that is what the law says. The absence of these young people showing up, being taken to court, shows that within the police service we have a criminal task force or a criminal unit that is doing someone's dirty business.
Well, you know something, whenever you read, hear, and people speak about these happenings, what is truly unfortunate, if you look at the history of these things, it tells you that something about that state is beginning to unravel.
Yes.
Those who are charged the management of that particular country, there's something that has escaped their grasp. They don't have a handle on all the things they should have a handle of. These are children, for heaven's sake. These are not some hardened, die-hard criminals that you're chasing, so you can justify whatever it is you're doing. These are extremely young people. Don't you think a message is actually being sent, and should you not listen to that message?
When there's a threat to your security, there's a threat to your sovereignty as a nation state. We've often seen that in history, you have no other business at that moment beyond securing those who are under threat, whether it is a border, whether it is individuals, whether it is a position. Leadership and governance have no business right now beyond securing the livelihoods and securities of Kenyans. No business. The true picture of a nation is the position of its most vulnerable at any one time. That's the true picture of the nation. If you don't want to deal with the picture, then perhaps that's a totally different discussion, but you have to deal with it. You have to deal with it. If you want to be taken seriously, if you want to be given another stab at leadership, you have to take it seriously. And unfortunately, we're at a place where it doesn't look good at all. It really doesn't.
Can't.
It doesn't.
And there is no excuse or explanation that would warrant Kenyans being abducted, and no explanation being given. There is no reason for any parent to go to a morgue to look for their child. It is wrong, and the buck stops with the big man, because he is the appointing authority. Talk about NIS, is the one who nominated him. Talk about DCI, same story. The buck stops with him. And even when Nairobi Senator Sifuna says he cannot come to tell us that he does not know, I agree with him, because where else do we go? If Muturi knew where to go to get his son be released, therefore he must give answers and explanation to where over 80 young people in this republic are.
I'm going to turn it up just a little bit, because if we're saying that it's just an abduction issue that is actually getting people to have their knickers in a twist in this country, it isn't. We will close down principals warn over delayed 48 billion shillings funding. Just when you think that you're getting out of the water, you're not.